Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode, Master Moats Film Session, and it is brought to you by DRAFTKINGS Sportsbook, America's top-rated sports booking app. Not only is it safe, but it is secure, and my favorite part is it is reliable, baby. And for all the first-time users out there, if you use the promo code MOATS, you will receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. So stop wasting time, download the app and use the promo code so you can get an opportunity to make a little money. All right, found it, and here we go. So first off, circle Mr. Highsmith, that's where he is, and then you know how we do this thing, play it at full speed, and then we'll break it down. Alrighty. So first off, and what we'll do is this, I'm going to show you it a little bit from the wide because I want to talk a little bit of the coverage, and then there's one particular thing that you can see a little bit better with Highsmith's rush from the sideline copy, and then from there we'll go to the tight angle where you can see a lot more of the details associated with his rush. But just a quick, overview of it, because you always want to work big picture and then you want to narrow it down, right? So for the defense, man, they're running it's a Tampa 2 defense, but it's a simulated pressure out of it, okay? So what we like to call it's a simulated Tampa 2 defense. That's all it is. I don't know what they call it right now. We ran similar stuff, but not this exactly, okay? And as we talked about last time, a simulated pressure is when you got your 4 guys, right? Or excuse me, you're only gonna have 4 guys rushing, but you give the illusion of it being more than 4 guys. So right now, the illusion is what? All 5 of these guys are coming. You look at Ola's feet right here. This is his rush stance, right? He fooled me, and I watch him a lot. I'm like, man, dude, I thought you were rushing, and the whole time he's dropping out of this thing, right? But you got that view of 5 guys, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Simulated pressure, though, one of these guys have to drop out. Now, we talked about the last simulated pressure we broke down. It was Cam Sutton coming on a blitz, and I think it was Vince Williams who dropped out. So right here, they're gonna do this, okay? All right, because it's Tampa 2, he's going to be your middle runner, okay? And we talked about middle runner, right? You're looking to number 3, and if it's 2, and you're looking for number 3 if it's 3 by 1, right? Meaning 1, 2, 3 receivers to one side, right? So he should be opening up this direction, okay? If it was 2 by 2, then he opens up to speed, right? Okay. Yeah, y'all can read that. Y'all know what it says. Leave me alone. So that's his job, right? So he's going to be opening up to number 3, okay? Then right here with Davis, he's going to be half fill over here. And then you got Minka, who has the other half over here. Then Sutton, he's a squat corner. I think that's should be Steven Nelson right there. He's going to be the other squat corner. You're going to have Vince, who's a vertical hook. And vertical hook just means if number 2, which is this guy, if he goes vertical, which is running a vertical route, or if he hooks up inside, right? If he runs vertical and comes inside, it's going to be Vince's guy. If he goes outside, you got the squat corner. And if he runs a downfield play that breaks out, you got the half field safety, okay? So that's his job. The other person that's dropping out, though, because we said it's a simulated pressure, right? It's Ola. He's going to be your vertical hook on the backside of this thing, okay? So you're only going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in the rush, okay? So right here, simulated pressure element of it. Ola, nice step forward, because what does that do? It gets this guy's attention. If you're Ola and you just ball snap, just sit right back out here, this guy's looking right now at Tuit and he's going to ear hole him, okay? So if you're Tuit, you're probably telling this guy, hey man, don't hang me out to dry, don't undress me, okay? Give me that step before you get up out of there so I can at least get a chance to get a one-on-one, at least get a chance to work half a man before he comes and ear holes me. So Ola does that. And we saw, right, at the beginning of this thing, watch when Ola takes this step, this guy has to kick. He's ready. He's taking 2 kicks now. And now this gives Tuit, he has either side he wants to work, okay? So from there, now he's dropped out of this thing, all right? And now this is what we have, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the front side of this thing, I love this rush between, like I said, Alex Highsmith and Chris Wormley. This backside, this is what gets you beat right here. Now, granted, it didn't hurt us right here, and it won't hurt you a lot versus Baker because he's not the most fleet-footed, right? But you never want this scenario. Right now, you have 0 contain, meaning this. If Baker were to go this way, right? Highsmith is right here. He'll cut him off. He's contained, right? If Baker goes this way, there's nobody here, okay? Nobody here. So that is dangerous, right? And we saw Baker still take advantage of it a little bit in the game. We said, man, some of the scrambling that he did caught us off guard as a whole. But this is the stuff that you can't have happen, right? The only reason the thing that saves you is this is Chris Wormley, man. His rush, he does a really good job forcing him back to where Highsmith is. But let's go to Highsmith here, okay? Because we've been talking, we haven't got on Mr. Highsmith just yet. All right. So right now, the Browns are in an empty formation, and empty tells you a couple of things. A lot of times people think of empty and they're like, man, they're gonna have these elongated routes, they're taking shots. But sometimes you get quick game out of empty because all of these guys up here are having one-on-ones, right? So as we progress this thing, you know, okay, we're gonna need to work a little bit. Now, at the beginning of that, Highsmith got a chip block, right? So that lets you know right now if this tight end is chipping, oh man, I hit the wrong button. 1 second. But we know for a fact, man, when Highsmith is chipping, or excuse me, when that tight end is chipping on Highsmith, as we talked about in the last play, if a eligible receiver, chips someone, more than likely they're not running a downfield right. They're going to be short near the line of scrimmage, okay? And that's definitely what we get right there. We see what? Chip block, this guy's running underneath. He's just running a stop route right over the ball, okay? So nothing major there. So that was why he was able to chip Alex Highsmith right here. But then after the chip, the thing that I was really impressed with by Highsmith is his rush plan. You got to have a rush plan, right? Whether you think it's speed rush, spin move, inside, outside, bull rush, whatever it is, have a plan. And Alex Highsmith has that. So initially he's thinking speed rush, right? See him in a wide 9 technique, which we'll see a lot better from the end zone. But now he knows, okay, the speed isn't there. So let's work, okay? I have a 2-way go solely because this tackle has boxed in terms of his shoulder pads are facing the line or facing the sideline. He looks like a square. And the reason why we love this as pass rushers is once you get a tackle's shoulders facing the sideline, he has 0 power against the bull rush. So typically like this, you can collapse the pocket by just 2-hand, helmet in his chest, bull rushing him back to the quarterback. Myles Garrett did just that to Al on the first play he broke down, right? But right here, he gives him the changeup. Gives him a little wiggle, which I absolutely love. Little inside out or a little outside, or excuse me, here we go. Outside step, inside step, outside. And then we'll get to the inside copy where he does a great job of chopping this guy's hand. But man, that outside, inside, outside, we call it a Euro step. Think about like in basketball, the Euro that's become, that's taken over the NBA. Same thing when you're talking about one-on-one pass rush. We always said, man, one-on-one pass rush for your edge players is no different than one-on-one basketball. Can I shake you? That's what you're trying to do. Okay? And let me just check real quick before we get to that portion of it. Any questions or anything? All right. Let's see. Man, well, first off, Bernard, do I think we're going to sign Spillane to a future deal? Man, absolutely, dude. Spillane's definitely showed more than enough. He's showing that he not only belongs, but he's in the conversation to be a starter. So I feel like with a full offseason, a full training camp, man, he's going to push those guys in terms of Avery Williamson, Devin Bush, Vince Williams. He's going to challenge those guys for playing time, and rightfully so. He's definitely earned that, man. King Nat, tighten up. Oh, Lord. Well, you know what? It's all good. Y'all got y'all a dandy of a matchup against them Ravens. Enjoy. Oh, man. All right, let me see. We got anything? All right. Okay. Oh, did Coach T create the Tampa 2? Destiny, I'm not sure if he created it, but I know he was a big part of it, especially once it became the new thing, right? He was a part of that Super Bowl team down there when they were running with Derek Brooks, running that middle run. So I don't know if, like I said, if he was the originator of it, but he was definitely down there when it was first coming out. I guess I don't know the full timeline, but when you talk about a guy that knows that Tampa 2, he knows it extremely well. And I like the fact that he's been able to implement some of that here in Pittsburgh, because we know, well, actually a lot of people don't know this, but Tampa 2, man, it's more so for a 4-3 defense, okay? That's typically why you know how you run it and how you get to it a lot easier, but the Steelers are predominantly a 3-4, right? We typically have two of our outside guys that they're gonna be rushing all the time. But we do a good job here now, especially since LeBeau is left, of getting a little bit more multiple with our looks defensively, showing a little bit more of the 4-3 looks, even some 4-2-5 looks at times. So I do like that a lot for this defense. I feel like it's definitely opened up a lot more, and that's solely because of Coach Tomlin and some of the things that he just brings to the table from a defensive standpoint. I mean, anybody that's played for him, dude, he is a brilliant mind. All right, let's get back to this. Okay, so now it's time to focus on this rush. Alex Highsmith right here, Chase Wormley. Obviously, you got Tyson to it, and we said Ola's dropping out of this thing, right? And let me see, I'm gonna show it to you full speed from the end zone so you can just see these two guys, man. They get after it right here. This is some high quality booty that is getting kicked. All right, let me slow this down for you. So first off, all right, let's talk about Alex Highsmith. So talked about him being in that 9 technique, right? And the 9 technique is solely just him aligning outside of this tight end. Anytime you hear somebody say 9 technique, that's all they're talking about, outside of the tight end. Now, this is more so a wide 9. Think more Philadelphia Eagles, Trent Cole, Jason Babineau, for those that remember those guys. That's the technique that they started using a lot of, right? Because it's great for the rush, it's great for penetration, kills you in the run though, because this is a big hole, big space that he has to fill, okay? But that's what he's in, a wide 9, all right? And from there, like I said, he gets a little bit of a chip from Austin Hooper. But now watch his hands. Footwork first, bang, bang. That right there, him catching this arm is what makes this rush work. He doesn't catch this arm the way he does Jedrick Wills. Gets more than enough of his number right here, and then this offhand to come through and ride him by. But because he catches this hand, watch how it makes Jedrick fall forward a little bit. It ultimately clears his hip. Does a good job in terms of allowing him to bend that corner. Now, regardless of what happens, then obviously he ends up getting forced back into him. If Baker were to take off, if Baker were to take off this way, he's already in pursuit. He's ready to go. You would hope you have a contain, because ultimately when you have a rush like this, you want to make this guy have to come back to you, and that's what happens. But as a whole, man, this is beautiful hand work right here by Highsmith. And when we talk about, can Highsmith replace Bud Dupree? That's been the big question since Bud went down. Can Highsmith give you the same level of productivity as Bud Dupree? He can. This guy right here definitely can. The thing is, he has to do it more consistently. That's the biggest thing, and he's young right now. When you're young, consistency is the big part of it, right? Now, obviously, he doesn't have the same pedigree of being a first-round pick like Bud Dupree, but he's more than athletic enough, definitely fast enough. And like I said, I just love his hands. When you watch him rush, he is very active with his hands. He has a good natural feel for it. And he honestly, man, he had another rush where he beats Jedrick with the inside spin move. Beautiful. He doesn't even get the sack. That was probably the better rush, in my opinion. But you know how it goes, man. Sometimes the great rush, no one even sees it. And then the okay rush is where you get the sack. It's weird how that works. But that's what's going on with Highsmith right here, right? But this is the guy that makes the play for Highsmith, Chase Wormley. Now let's watch him, man, as he gets off this ball, right? Now you see, He's all the way in a 5 technique, right? Because this is the tackle. A 5 technique is when you're outside shade of the tackle, okay? So that's where he's at right now, okay? You see his hand right here on the tackle's foot. So good alignment. And the same thing we talked about with the Browns defensively with their 3-by-1 front to kind of force an isolation. Stills are doing a similar thing. They're just trying to get to it a little bit differently. They know this guy's dropping off for the simulated pressure, right? But they also know that, hey, man, they like Tua getting one-on-one matchups. That's what they're hunting right now, and they do get it to an extent, okay? Problem is, this guy reacts back, and Jack Conklin is a really good tackle in this league. I mean, he really is. So he does a good job once he sees Ola bounce, drop out, and he reacts back and close down. But now we have this right here. Mr. Chase Wormley. And the thing that I love with Chase's rush is this. It wasn't even anything spectacular, right? But he's active first off, right? Great get off. Active with his hands. Now, granted, we talked about DeCastro, right? We said, man, on that rush by DeCastro, we give up a little bit of pressure. The defender had got to his numbers first. Right here, the guard has his inside numbers, right? The guard's hand is inside on this 9 by Chase. So if you're Chase, now you have to resort to the next thing, which is what we call when you have to peel off the defender, or excuse me, peel off this offensive lineman's hand, or you want to replace your hands, right? Because that's what you got to do right now. Hand fight, but you're staying active with your feet. And it's hard to see, but Chase's inside hand starts high. Now you see it trying to move, but this is a good guard right here. He's doing a good job of ultimately pinning his hand. And what Chase does is he says, okay, I'm not going to get the move I want, which I think he was trying to sky this shoulder and then rip with this offhand. It's a basic rush move for interior defensive lineman, right? Just a rip move where you try to get your hand above your eyes. We call it skying the rip. It ultimately clears your hips, clears his hands off of you. That's what he's trying to do. But this guard right here, he says, okay, I'm going to sit heavy on that. So Chase's response to that is what? I'm going to use your leverage against you. And now we're going to counter you. You see him counter inside. The guard falls forward. And now he has to resort to holding. But also, what does it do, right? And we said no contain. If Baker's a faster quarterback or he believes in himself, this is Lamar Jackson, one of those types, this could be bad, right? Because he could take off. But since Baker isn't that fast, he doesn't feel he can get away from him. So what does it do? Forces him back inside to Alex Highsmith, who was already coming around with a really good rush on Jedrick Wills. As a whole, man, that was beautiful D-line play. And we talk about why you think we're so excited and why I think the X factor will be the D-line come Sunday. Because they were doing this without TJ and Cam. That's why. This is gonna be it's a lot different when you got Cam running these stunts with you, man. When you got Cam in this one-on-one right here. But this is big time, man. This is really good hand usage. Like I said, good counter. This is what you want to see. And reaching with the offhand. Try to get some of that, man. Get involved in it. But I thought it was a really big play by the young guy right here, Alex Highsmith. And really good job by Chris Wormley, man. Like I said, winning inside, forcing Baker to go back outside. Yes, indeed. Let me see if we have any questions or anything, man. Yeah, Chris Wormley. That's what we said. We got you right. I'm with you, baby. I said, yes, Chris. Let me enunciate a little bit better for you. Chris. All right, let's see. Oh, hey, well, Jason, appreciate you. So Jason said that he's getting Arthur Most Experienced with Deke podcast hoodie for his son. Shout out to you, Jason, and anybody that wants to support, like I said, man, under all of the YouTube videos that are already posted, you will see the link for all the merchandise for the podcast, Arthur Most Experienced with Deke. We have hoodies, men's shirts, the women's shirts, they run a little bit small. So I would say if you're a woman, go with a small men's size, all right? Yeah, a small women's shirt that I ordered fits like my 14-year-old daughter. Just throwing it out there, all right? But we also got coffee mugs as well, and the proceeds are going to the local food bank here in Pittsburgh, man. So anything you do, any purchase that you make, just know the money's going to the good place, baby. So definitely appreciate that support. All right. Oh, yeah, and Moats, man, I said Moats. And Big Wiggle, you're right, man. The Browns, they did use a lot of their bigger body personnel groupings, and that shows up a lot on tape by them. They like to do that, number one, because when we know the Browns, they run the ball a lot, right? They are Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt driven, but then they play action pass off of that and take shots off of that. They're one of the rare groups that get bigger body personnel groupings to take shots, similar to Baltimore, similar to Tennessee. You'll see the 12 and 13 personnel when they want to take those shots downfield. It's a different way to go about it, but it works for what they're trying to do, especially, you know, since everything is predicated off of the run for them. So that's definitely the thing that they're trying to do there. And Madaka, I'm not even gonna butcher your last name, but in terms of what does Cleveland have besides the run game, that they have that in terms of an advantage. Now, this is obviously, we were speaking prior to the COVID outbreak. Their biggest thing that they do is their play action pass. That I do think is a huge advantage for them because it looks identical to the run, and we know, especially this last game, man, we struggled a little bit at the linebacker position with some of the play action passing, with some of the crossing routes. We had a little bit of some miscommunication on some of the touchdowns that were happening and some of the passes that were happening throughout the game. So, but that's what you get when you play action pass off of a successful run game. So those are the things that the Browns do really well. Now, granted, I don't know if it's going to be to that full extent because of the COVID situation. They're going to be without Joel Bitonio, who was a 3-time Pro Bowler, a really good player, just got voted to another Pro Bowl this year. With him not being out there and some of these other guys, I don't know how they're going to do that successfully. And then defensively, I mean, Myles Garrett is probably their biggest advantage, but he's still talking about how he's still dealing with some of the lingering effects of COVID as well. So they just lost Olivier Vernon for the rest of the season, obviously playoff time here, but he ruptured his Achilles. So regardless of what happens with Cleveland as it pertains to the playoffs, he won't be available to them. So to me, their biggest advantage is Myles Garrett in that running game. That's about it right now. All right. Oh, we all the way in SoCal. All right. Shout out to you, Sandy. All right. All right. I like it. Oh, and do I think Juju will get a new contract? Kelly V. I do think he will, and we're talking about in Pittsburgh, I'm assuming, but this is the thing. If it does happen in Pittsburgh, it will be for less than his true market value. And that's solely because if he was able to hit the open market, I mean, that's when you get the dance partners, right? That team wants to negotiate, that team wants to negotiate, and then once you got two teams that are willing to negotiate against each other, the numbers just keep running up higher and higher. But if he were to stay in Pittsburgh, I do think that he would have to take less, obviously, because of the cap situation. We talked about Ben's cap number next year. We also know TJ Watt is in line for a massive contract extension. One of those, you know, highest paid defender in NFL history. One of those type of contracts he's in line for. So we know that, yeah, we're not going to be able to pay everyone to their full market value. That's a big reason why Bud Dupree is more than likely going to be gone this offseason as well. But I do think if Juju stays, like I said, I think they'll definitely submit him an offer, but he's going to have to decide whether he wants to go and get his full market value or if he wants to take less but stay here in Pittsburgh. Yes, indeed. Oh, we got some Wentz going on. All right, that's gonna be interesting, man. Oh yeah, no doubt, Kelly, no doubt. All right, let me see. Oh, and Overture, in terms of our red zone offense improving come playoff time, I do think it will, but I think it's gonna be a lot in terms of this game. I think it'll be better, but it's going to be solely because of some of the things that the Browns have going on from a personnel standpoint. When you talk about that many players not being available, coaches not being available, they're going to have some issues communicating. They're going to have some issues personnel wise. I just think that, you know, Ben and the guys take full advantage of that in every aspect, whether we're talking in the middle of the field, backed up, or red zone. I just think that they have the best chance to do that. So yeah. But I will say this, man, I appreciate everybody that's tuned in thus far. In terms of some more film and things like that, we're going to do a lot more of these things, like I said, but you know, I can't give it to you all at one time, baby. So with that being said, I appreciate you. Enjoy your night. I hope you enjoyed this session because I did. And as always, here we go, Steelers, baby.